All right, you guys ready to get this party started? Let's Here I am. Hello everybody. Welcome, welcome. I hope you guys are enjoying the beginning of TGBE. Abby had a great session, and now we are ready to play with some more beads. Grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, sit back and relax. If you're new to Humble Beads, hello, I'm Heather Powers. I'm a bead maker and jewelry designer, author and illustrator, and instructor. And I love to inspire people to use artisan beads and to create jewelry that reflects the beauty of nature. This is going to be our project for today. We're going to be making the spring confetti bracelet. I do have kits at humblebeads.com, and I have added the link to the comments. I want to welcome all of my friends who are here. So many of you. If you could take a second and share this video and like it, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. So we are ready to jump in. I'm going to turn my camera over and we are going to get into some jewelry making. So my camera's a little fuzzy. How's it looking to you guys? Let me just clean the screen real quick. There we go. Maybe that's a little better. All right. We are going to be making these fun confetti seed bead links. And if you guys watched the TGBE trend report last night, you'll see some familiar colors. These were inspired by the Pantone colors for spring and summer. So if you wanted to see them in action, here we go. And then we have the artisan bead with Humble Beads, my disc bead. Then I'm debuting these new 5x9mm tube beads. These are small little mini ones, and we have them in a whole rainbow of colors that were just added to the website. On the website, on the blog, I have the supply list, and then later this afternoon I will put the rest of the directions, the written directions, so you guys can have that for your, to go back and look at. Okay, I'm going to just give you guys a little quick perusal of all the colors that we have in these fun tube beads. These make super earrings, bracelet components. I like to use them stacked together or single. Here I have a bracelet, cuff bracelet that I've made, and I've snuck some of them in there too. So just really fun to design with. And then I also have all right. I don't know what happened with the mic there. Hopefully that didn't cause any trouble. So this is for my upcoming faux tin class, the bracelet and this little pendant here, and you can see I've added the little tube beads with some paperclip inspired chain. So you guys can check that out on my website. That'll be May 18th and 19th, that workshop, and we're going to learn how to do image transfers onto copper. And so these are my illustrations, and we had a great first session. Our next session is coming up the beginning of May, and then this last session is May 18th. All right, we are going to need some wire to start out with. And again, all of this is going to be on, the whole supply list is on the blog at humblebeads.com, so you guys can take a look at that if you need to. We're going to start with 18 gauge pear wire, and this is the natural brass color, and I'm going to do 3 inches of this, and that's going to be the armature for my little beaded link that I'm going to do. And I'm going to make sure both sides are cut nice and flush. I'm going to move some of this out of the way real quick. Again, this is 3 inches of 18 gauge pear wire in the antique brass, and we are going to make simple loops on both ends. So the design was inspired by Confetti, and if you guys have lived in San Antonio or visited San Antonio, you know Fiesta is their big April party celebration. And I lived in San Antonio for 10 years and I loved Fiesta. It was so much fun. Well, anyways, one of the things they do is have cascarones, which are confetti filled eggs, and you crack them on each other's heads. So that was the fun inspiration for the confetti like beaded links, and I picked colors that I felt were really springy and played with some color combinations I wouldn't necessarily go with using the Pantone color palettes. Okay, I'm going to hammer, this is a ball peen hammer, steel bench block, and I'm going to hammer just the ends to start out with. I'm going to flip it over and do the other one. And now we're going to hammer the long piece here. Not too flat. Just going to work harden it a little so that it doesn't bend easily. You don't want it to be all willy-nilly on your wrist. Okay, I'm going to, you can see there's a little bit of a space there. I'm going to take my pliers and close that nice and tight because we're going to be using thin wire and we don't want that to be able to go through that little gap there. Okay, so just closing that up a little on both sides. You don't want any gap on the two ends. Okay, I am using size 8 seed beads. Oh good, I'm glad you guys are here. So I'm going to be looking up occasionally at the comments. Vic, if your son lives in San Antonio, you definitely have to ask him about Fiesta. And guys, if you want like a really fun bit of eye candy, look up the Fiesta Court. And what they do every year is there's this Queen's Court, and they have these gowns that have these amazing, I don't know, 10-foot long beaded trains or something. And they take a year to make, and they're like $10,000 or more. They are really spectacular. So the Fiesta Court dresses, Google that. Okay, let me concentrate a little. You do not need a bead spinner to do this project, but if you like having fun and saving time, I highly recommend a bead spinner. This is just an old one. I don't know, I've had it for like 20 years. I bought it at a craft store, you know, one of the big box craft stores. And okay, you definitely have to look up those gowns, and they're made in secret for like the whole year and revealed, and they're put in museums. They're just incredible. Okay, the wire I'm using is 24 gauge, and I'm using the art metal colored wire, which is this smoky quartz color. So nice and dark, and you can just string on. You're going to need 12 inches of beads strung onto a 15-inch piece of wire. And again, you don't have to take notes or remember this. This is on the blog at Humble Beads. So it's 15 inches of wire at least. Well, if you're going to be like using the kit or cutting the wire, I just leave it on the spool. But you're going to need 15 inches of the wire, and you need 12 inches of it beaded. And I make a little hook out of the wire here. And the trick is to not jam this in. You want it to just lightly brush the surface of the beads, and they will start jumping on. Then after you get an inch or so, you're going to let it fall down. And I'm just going to spin away here. Oh my gosh, guys, if you didn't watch the trend report last night, you have to watch it today sometime after this evening, or put it on for your Monday morning coffee. What a great topic that was. I loved it so much. I found it so inspiring. I took so many notes, and it will definitely inspire some new jewelry creations coming up this spring. That's the thing. You don't have to follow trends like to the T. You can just let it be a springboard for inspiration, which I absolutely love. So just getting my 12 inches of beads on the wire, and you can do this by hand. You don't have to have the bead spinner. I just definitely want to demo it because it is the fastest, easiest, and funnest way to do this part of the project. So about another inch and I'm done. And these are definitely the colors that were in the Pantone color palette for spring and summer. So Abby, I totally get it. Abby said that this is called confetti because when you get excited with the bead spinner, those beads go everywhere. Yeah, you do have to a really light touch instead of jamming your needle or wire into the bead spinner will help a lot. And it does just take some practice. Okay, I have my 12 inches of beads on my 15 inches of wire here. And again, this is 22 gauge wire. And I have about an inch on the end here. And I'm going to wrap it around 3 or 4 times. Then we're going to find the missing wire cutters. Trim that off. Pinch the end so you don't feel that when you're wearing it. You don't want to have anything spiky on your piece of jewelry. Oh, that little guy keeps popping up. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to pull this end. See how it's kind of going down a little? I'm going to pull that up. And I'm going to let some of my beads fall down. And I'm going to push those beads around. I want to start with about, 6 beads around. 5 or 6, depending how many you can get to fit on there. So I'm just wrapping it around. It's not around there tightly though. And now I'm going to twist the beads around the wire. And you can see it's about 6 beads each time. 6 to 8. You can have it a little thicker in the middle if you want. And I'm trying to wrap it pretty tightly next to each other, so each row is wrapped right next to each other. And I'm just twisting, I'm holding on to the beaded portion and twisting it around, letting the rows stack up here. And it doesn't take long to do this. And if your little brain is already going, oh my gosh, these beaded links would look so cute as earrings, you're 100% right. And I've done these as earrings with little charms at the bottom, with little artisan polymer clay charms at the bottom, and they're adorable. So yeah, if you want to do earrings, I would say do 1.5 or 2 inches to start with. And of course they're each going to be a little different. Earrings are sisters, not twins, so don't try to get them exactly alike. I've gotten a little too tight, so I'm going to loosen that up a little because I don't want it to get skinny yet. I am going to reduce the amount of beads I use in each layer as I get towards the bottom, but I want to keep it pretty even going along here. And I'm just going to zip through, just turning those. And now I'm going to start doing it a little bit tighter each time I go around so that the rows are getting smaller and smaller, so that it has a little bit of a tapered look at the bottom here. Okay, I'm going to push this down a little, maybe add a few more beads, and now we're going to end the piece just like we started. I'm wrapping under the loop, and I'm going to do 4 or 5 wraps around nice and tightly. Trim that off. Ooh, don't cut your loop. And then pinch in that little end really tight. Okay, now what you can do at this point is fuss around with it to get it a little more uniform. If you pull the beads the opposite way that you strung them, you can make the little layers, the little rings a little bit bigger, and then if you pull them the way you wrapped them, they will get a little bit tighter. So you can kind of even that out. And now we're going to bend this a little bit. And there is our beaded link. Yes, now you know what to do with all the seed beads you've been hoarding. And you guys, I don't sell seed beads, but I know both Kate at Bead Shop and Abby at the Bead Place, they sell seed beads. And the seed beads that we're using for today's project are 8 aught, so the size 8 seed beads. All right, now we're gonna grab, let me make sure I do this exactly like I want it. Okay, we're gonna grab our bird, our disc bead, and a little tiny O bead to go in between. And O beads are little glass spacers. And we're going to grab 5 inches of the 18 gauge parawire. I'm going to make a wrapped loop. I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches and start my, oh, and I want to keep this a little bit on the big side. I don't want a real small little loop. So I'm going to wrap that around once. Oh, 2 times tightly. And then I'm going to wrap around one more time on top of that. Have my little tail ending in the back. Oh. Let me start over because we need to add them to our link before we close it. I got too excited, you guys. Okay. 1.5 inches. We're going to make that large loop. And before we do the wrapping, we're going to open it up and slip on this ring. This is a closed ring. It's a hammered one. It's about 18 millimeter, or maybe 20. No, it's not 20. It's about 17 to 18 millimeter. You could also use a large jump ring if you didn't have one of these closed rings. Okay. Oh my gosh, I do that so many times where I'm like, okay, I'm going to add this on, and then I'll forget and I have to redo it. It's what you get when you're not paying attention. Okay, now we're going to throw on the bird, and this is a little bird I make by hand painted. It has a little willow design that I've created, and then the O bead and our disc bead that's also my little artisan disc bead that I make. Okay, now we're going to do another loop on the bottom, and this time we're going to slide on our beaded link. So I'm going to open that up, slide on my beaded link, and then close the loop, wrap around 2 times tightly, and then 1 time on top. Closing that up. And I'm going to make sure, and you want your bird to be facing outward on your wrist when you wear it. If you put it the other way, his little beak is going to be poking you all day, and that's not very comfortable. So make sure his little beak is facing towards you when you put this together. Okay, now we're going to do the knotted part with the little 5mm by 9mm tube beads, and you're going to need 10 of them. My wax linen is 4-ply, and we carry this in so many different colors. 1 second, guys, I gotta plug in my computer because its battery's just been drained out. The life force is gone. There we go. Okay, 4mm wax linen. All right, that didn't work. 1 second. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's always something, right? Let's try this again. Okay. It's got the juice again. Okay, 4mm. And we have this in a rainbow of colors on the website. And I'm going to do 24 inches. I might not need that much. I just always feel like I'd rather have more than not enough. Yeah, it's probably way too much, but it's just the way I go. Okay, I folded my wax linen. I have 24 inches. And I'm going to make a little loop on the middle. And you're going to stick it through the ring with the loop on the back. And then take your 2 ends and pull it through. And this is a lark's head knot that I'm doing. So there we have our nice little knot. And then I'm going to wrap it around my finger and tie another knot to get the beading part started. The beading party started. Okay, I'm going to throw on a tube bead on each end of the wax linen. And they don't have large holes like the larger. Oh, did I say 4mm? I'm at 4-ply wax linen, you guys. 4-ply. Sorry about that. 4-ply wax linen. So we do carry larger tube beads, and they actually have a larger hole. These ones have a smaller hole, so they work well with the 4-ply wax linen. Just so that you're aware when you're shopping, these do have a smaller hole than the larger tubes. Okay, now I'm going to put these evenly on that wax linen so they're both at the same place. There's a little bit of a V where the wax linen is, and that's what we're going for. And now we're going to tie a knot on this end, making sure you pull both of those strands together. And again, this is 4-ply Irish wax linen, available at humblebeads.com. Okay, so that's going to be our little component, and we're going to do this 4 more times. Linda, you're still in Spain. That's exciting. Or in Europe. I'm sure you've been traveling around all over, but welcome. Glad to have you here, joining us from the other side of the world. Okay, got these two together, so you want them to be even on the strands so that they are laying parallel. And then we're going to tie the knot on the top, wrap it around your fingers, pull it through. And I'm going to speed this up because you guys know what I'm doing now. Throwing those on. And if you need to, you just turn your wax linen the direction that it's twisting, and that will make your little ends tighter and get it through that bead a little bit easier. Okay, 2 more to go. Ooh, you want to make sure you keep those 2 strands together. If it doesn't work out, you can pull them separately, and that will tighten them up a little. This one got away from me just a little bit, so I'm going to be more careful. And by getting away from me a little bit, I mean that the knot wasn't right in the center of both of the beads. It's kind of off center. And it looks best if all the knots are uniform going in between the 2 beads. Okay. I don't know how exciting this is to watch. Carefully adding on these beads. Okay. There we go. And now I'm going to wrap these around my finger, keep them together, making sure those are nice and parallel, and keeping that knot in between the 2 beads, getting it as tight as I can down there. And you can separate the strands and pull it a little bit tighter. Okay, last 2. If you're a smaller person, this bracelet is 8.5 inches wide because I always make my jewelry to fit myself. So if you need it smaller, you can do the beaded portion a little bit smaller and do 4 instead of 5 of the 2 beads. Then you'll have some little leftover components to make a pair of earrings. That's a nice bonus. Okay. Last one on here, and then I'll show you guys how to make the clasp, because we're fancy and we're going to make a little hook clasp. Okay, so there we go. Let's add the goodies on this side. Okay, I have this very large 12mm bark jump ring. Sorry, I was just looking at the comments. And you're going to need 2 pairs of pliers to open and close this baby. So thick and heavy. I'm going to open this up, and I'm using the silver to match the silver on. No, I'm going to close this, not open, because I'm not attaching it directly to the piece. I'm going to use a 6mm jump ring and attach this to the 6mm jump ring. You can use, make sure it's closed nice and tightly. Vintage has some brass jump rings that are really thick like this too. You could use those too. You know, you want a little bit thicker of a jump ring to reflect the design that you have in the front. Okay, got that added on. I'm going to slip it onto our bracelet, close that up, and now I have a little 5mm jump ring and a nest charm. Because you know, that bird's got to have some place to land. So I'm going to slip this through and add it on. See where I'm adding it onto the loop of the beaded link. Okay, now we're ready to make the clasp and do the other side. I'm going to be using 18 gauge copper wire, and this is hardware 18 gauge. So if you want to use, for some reason the hardware wire is thicker 18 gauge than if you get jewelry wire that's 18 gauge. You can see this is the 18 gauge and jewelry wire, and this is the hardware wire. So to say that, if you are getting your wire from a jewelry place, you'll want to get 16 gauge. If you're getting your wire from the hardware store, which is a great place to get copper wire, you're going to go with the 18 gauge. So there's just a little bit of a difference. I've cut 3 inches, and I'm going to do a loop at the bottom here. Well, actually, you know, I'm going to do this top part first. And I'm going to use one of my favorite little on-the-fly jewelry tools, a Sharpie marker. And I'm going to wrap this around the Sharpie to make the hook. And I'm going to take this little end and bend it outward. Oh, like a 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to take this side. Oh, you know what? I want to do, let's do 5 inches of wire. 3 inches would be if I was just doing a loop and not a wrapped loop at the bottom. So the good thing is you get to see that again. Wrapping this around my Sharpie marker, taking the end and pulling it out so you have like this little shepherd's hook look. And now down here at this end, I'm going to make a loop, and we're going to wrap that loop around twice, and nice and tightly. Okay. Trim off the end, squeeze that in. I'm feeling like that's a little long, so I'm going to trim it up to like 1/8 of an inch. I like that better. Okay, you're going to need to pull out your hammer, and I'm hammering just the end. And now the other side, I'm going to hammer the whole thing. I'm going to turn it over. And turn it over one more time. And now I'm going to go on the end, and I'm going to hammer this so that it's flatter. And turning it over. Okay, now I would take this and dip it into some liver of sulfur gel to get it dark, but I'm not going to do that right now, so I'm just going to use the raw copper for the demonstration. But know that I would definitely dip this in some liver of sulfur gel to antique it. I'm going to take my little file and file the end, just filing in one direction, going down, lifting up my file each time. So not like a saw, but lifting it and going down. Just want to make sure this is nice and smooth and no little burrs from when I cut it. You could also just use a piece of like 400 grit sandpaper and do the same thing. So there is our little clasp. Yeah, Trish, that's a great point. Make sure your hardware wire, make sure that it says bare copper wire so it doesn't have any chemicals or anything on it. Okay. I'm going to take my bracelet. I definitely didn't need 24 inches. You could get away with 20 inches and have plenty left over. Okay, so I'm adding that to the strand and I'm going to wrap it around the hook, I mean the loop on the bottom, one more time. So it's wrapped around 2 times, and I'm going to do the same kind of knot, except I'm going to go underneath my wire loop on my clasp. Pull that nice and tight. Okay, now I'm going to do that one more time. The second knot is going to go underneath the first knot. So we're heading towards the beads with the second knot. Get that nice and tight. And I'm going to separate these and give them a little pull to make sure it's on there really tight. One of the reasons I like using wax linen, not only for the color, but also you don't need to do any glue or anything when you do the knots. Okay, I'm going to grab a few little seed beads and I'm going to do 5 beads on each one. Oh yeah, I like to antique the wire, the copper wire, with the liver of sulfur extended life gel from Beadsmith. All right, strung 5 beads on, and now we're going to do a simple knot at the bottom here with the strand. And repeat this on the other side. And mixing up the beads so that I don't have the exact same color next to each other, so that it looks, you know, like it's random, but it's not random because I'm picky. And so I'm doing 5 little beads on each side. And tying the simple knot at the bottom and making sure that knot gets as close to the beads as possible. Okay, now I'm going to give this wax linen a little haircut, about 1/4 inch off, and I'm going to twist them open so that we have little frayed edges. That's just what I like. Okay, you get the idea. Okay, one last little step here, which is some little petals of confetti. And we're gonna make these little tiny charms to add on using pip beads. And I have 3 different colors. And I'm just going to demo one because you can see, well, unless you need me to demo it a second time. I'm going to be using the same 24 gauge wire in the art metal, and I'm going to cut about 5 inches. Probably don't need 5 inches, but always better to have more than not enough. Probably could have done 4 inches. Oops. Yeah. All right. Adding the 3 little pip beads on. Do any of my fellow sellers, maybe Abby, do you guys offer pip beads? Do you have pip beads on your website? If you do, feel free to add that into the comments. I just have them for the kits. I don't sell them. I have a few colors that we'll be adding to the website, but I don't have a large selection of the colors. Okay, I'm going to get those nice and tight on there. I've just crossed the 2 wires over in the center, and I'm going to take the smaller of the wires and make a little loop. Can you guys see that? It's kind of like a figure 8. We have the big loop and then the little loop going the other direction, so you have 1 wire going to the left and 1 wire going to the right. You are going to grab on to the wire on the right and your loop, and you're going to take your, oops, let me get that back. Okay. Sorry, let go of it. So you're holding on to your loop and the wire that's on the other side, and you're going to take the little wire and wrap it underneath your loop several times. Let's do 2 times, that's enough. I'm going to trim that off. Tuck it in, and now I'm going to grab this wire and wrap it around. And I want to wrap it underneath the first wraps that I made because I want to tighten up the little pip beads on here, and so getting the wire closer to the beads is going to tighten that up, and that feels nice and tight. Those little beads aren't running around anymore. They were kind of flying all over the place, and now they're nice and taut. Okay, tuck in that little tail in the back, and I'm going to add this onto my big loop using the 5mm jump ring. Do you guys need to see that again? Leave a comment if you want me to do one more. Okay. I need to make this opened up a little wider. And closing this up. Ah! That's always scary, isn't it? Okay, and that's our little confetti petal on there with the pip bead. So I will do that one more time because I see a few people have asked. So we're going to do 4 inches. We don't need 5 inches. I'm going to do 4 inches of the 22 gauge wire. I'm going to slip on the beads, and these are pip beads, check glass beads, pip, PIP. We're going to get that in the center. and make a little loop with our wire by crossing them over. And now I'm going to take the left side and I'm going to make a loop. And you can see I have one wire going this way and one wire going to the right, and they're not crossing over. There's a little bit of space in between the two. Can you guys see that? Yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to grab onto the loop and the right hand wire and wrap the other wire around both the loop and the extra wire. I'm going to wrap 2 or 3 times going downward. Trim off the end. Tuck it in. Okay, and I'm going to take this, the leftover piece, and I'm going to wrap it down, and I want to get underneath. Hold this. I want to get it as close to the beads as I can, so I want it to go underneath the first loops that the first wraps that I did, and that is going to tighten up those beads so that they're not moving around anymore. See how they're nice and tight on there? Cut that off. Tuck it in, and then we are going to add it to our link with the 5mm jump ring. Make sure I put this on the right way. There's a front and a back to it, and you want the front to be hanging down. Okay, so there's my little pip confetti. I would do one more to finish this off, but you don't need to see me do that again. And so there is our finished bracelet. And I would definitely antique this before I added it, so I may restring that later. Maybe I'll make it smaller and give it as a gift. But here's the finished bracelet with the antiqued clasp. All right, if you guys have questions, go ahead and leave the questions. We are going to do a $50 giveaway for humblebeads.com. I just did, we just redid our website. So we have a brand new website. Super excited for you guys to visit it and shop over there. Our little special for the day. Oh, first let me get you guys doing the giveaway. All right, the giveaway, I want you guys to do hashtag TGBE, and then after we get quite a few of you, I'll give you guys a few minutes to get that in. Hashtag TGBE. And yes, questions, go ahead and ask the questions. I did use a little 5mm jump ring to add those pips on. And I will have the written directions, and I'll post it in the group later today for you guys. All right, so humblebeads.com gift with purchase for the weekend is going to be, for every $50 you spend, we are going to send you a pair of wobble disc beads, wobble spacers. These are little artisan beads that I make, and we'll match them up to your order. That's what I like to do. I like to match them up to your order. And then all of our orders, no matter the size of your order, we are going to give you guys a pair of acrylic flowers. And so these make super cute earrings. I have a really great project on our Humble Beads YouTube channel that have an earring project in gilding these with a little gold paint. Super fun and easy. And so that's your free gift with every order. And then $50 or more for every $50 you spend, you get a free pair of wobble beads. We do add the orders together, ship them together. So, all right, someone was asking about the pliers, and just to go over it, these are Lindstrom pliers. They're my favorites. I've had these for like 20 years. They look like it. I do need to probably get new ones, but the thing is, Lindstrom pliers, they are on the pricier side, but your hands do not hurt using them. Any other pliers, my hands hurt, but these ones, they're ergonomic, they're made for long use, and they also have a lifetime guarantee. So if something happens, like we've actually one of these broke off one time and they replaced the pliers for free. So there's a lifetime guarantee with Lindstrom pliers. You guys can get them at wherever they sell fine jewelry making tools, and you guys can just look those up, Lindstrom pliers. All right, again, we have kits, wax linen, and the tube beads, and I'll be adding a few more little birdies to the website, and so you guys can take a look at those. Kimberly, we are working on having previous projects, having a gallery with the previous projects on there. What you can do is head over to, on the website, there's a jewelry tutorial page, and on that page is the link to our YouTube channel, and that's where you can find all of our projects that are archived on the YouTube channel. We do videos every Tuesday at 3 p.m. and we do free projects for you guys. All right, just looking through to see if, let me know if you guys have any questions. Now is the time. Yeah, the Lindstroms, they're just the best. Pat, we don't do a discount code on Humble Beads. We do the free gift with purchase. So you have the little wobble beads, the artisan made wobble beads that I make, and we match them to the colors in your order. Just like to do that little special thing for you guys. All right. Oh, before the last thing, hi, that I wanted to tell you guys about, I do online classes, and my next online class that's coming up is the Faux Tin Workshop, and this is where we take images and permanently adhere them to copper. It's 10 hours a weekend workshop, so 5 hours on a Saturday, 5 hours on a Sunday. We go through, we show you step by step how to make the faux tin pieces, then I walk you through how to make your own images using a free template that you get with the class, so that you can print out your own images from art history or your own images from that you've taken with your camera or that you've drawn yourself. I'm an illustrator when I'm not making beads and jewelry, so you guys get 2 sheets of illustrated images that I've created that you can see here on the samples. And the first day we make the components, and the second day we have 4 jewelry projects that we'll be using. It's been a great class. I've done 1 session already, then next weekend, or no, first weekend in May is the second, and then I still have a few spots in the 3rd session. It comes with a complete kit. All you need are your tools. Everything else is included. I know, I'm so excited for the workshop, Eva. I'm glad you could join us. Website, guys, is humblebeads.com, and I will put the link again. And I have a little TGBE category that has all of the things that we showed you guys here today. All right, so I think everybody, well, we still have a few more people doing the hashtag TGBE. Linda, for the class, the listing has all of the tools you're going to need, but it's a basic jewelry tools, and then you'll need metal shears and your bench block and hammer. So there's not it's not real tool heavy. We try to keep it pretty bare bones for you guys so you don't have to invest in a lot. But yeah, you'll need metal shears and the bench block and hammer that you saw me using. Oh, it's not on the TGBE page. Oh no, that's weird. Well, we'll get it up on there for you guys. All right, thank you guys so much for leaving questions. I will go through and answer any questions too, but let's go ahead and do the giveaway. All right. Oh, you know what? Let me go through it. Make sure it's capital. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes. Make sure it's capital hashtag TGBE. If you look in the comments, you can see how other people have done it. It needs to be all capital. I'm so sorry about that. Go ahead and re-enter it if you used lowercase. It's not showing all the people that did the lowercase. So capital TGBE, and you want to do hashtag capital TGBE for the giveaway. Yeah, I just saw that it didn't. The entries weren't matching up. So I can tell that if you didn't use capital, it didn't capture your entry. So capital TGBE, and make sure you use the hashtag first. All right, you guys are doing fantastic. Okay. If you guys have any other questions too, feel free to sorry. Let's get to the big screen. Yeah, feel free to add those in the comments. I'm just waiting another second for the capital TGBE. Make sure you use the capital. And again, I will tempt you guys with this luscious tray. Look at this peach color. If you guys are into the peach trend that's so popular at the moment. Naomi, I will have a summer bead making workshop. I'm going to be doing Van Gogh's Starry Nights for a polymer clay class. Oh yes, I love doing the workshops. Kim, the workshop, I think it's 135, and that includes the 10 hours of videos, and they're Zoom, so they're live classes. We record them so you guys can watch them anytime afterwards. You get, you know, one-on-one attention with us on the class. If you've ever taken a Zoom class, you know that you're like watching me just like you are right here. This class is co-taught by me and my husband, and we have 50 spots in the class, so you know you can just look and see how many spaces we have left and make your decision based on that. Yeah, so Joyce, the classes are lifetime access. They're on a separate website. You guys can go and check out anytime. You can watch all the videos, and there's also PDFs with step-by-step and directions for the classes too. And yeah, because it just doesn't always work out for people to attend the live class. So yeah, you can definitely watch afterwards. All right, now we are ready to do the giveaway. So let me get that going. And this is a $50 gift certificate. And you guys also be sure to go to the TGBE group. Okay, let me here's our winner, Julie Avila. You want to, Amy, you can use a saw, but actually you don't really need it. you can get a pair of metal shears for under $20, and it will make the project much, much happier. Julie, are you here? I need you to say if you're here for sure. Because we need a... Did she answer? Julie, are you here? Yes, there we go. Julia, I am adding the website, or not the website, the email, mrhumblebeads@gmail.com. Go ahead and email Jess at mrhumblebeads@gmail.com, and he will send out that $50 gift certificate to you. All right, my friends, that's it. I've gone 2 minutes over time. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will go through and answer them later today. I will have the written directions for this, and then we have the supply list also on the Humble Beads website under the blog, and I will post those in the Great Bead Extravaganza group for you guys too. All right, thank you guys so much. Clem, thanks. I love the braids too. If not, my hair looks like Hermione. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Next up is Green Girl Studios, and I can't wait to see what that little creative powerhouse has ready for us. And so you guys go take a quick break and join us for Green Girl Studios next. Oh, don't forget to head over to the Great Bead Extravaganza group and sign up for the drawings. I have a $50 gift certificate in each of the 3 bags, or I guess they're virtual bags this time. The swag bags are virtual, but we have 3 $50 gift certificates that we're giving away this weekend also. So be able to make sure you go over to the Great Bead Extravaganza group and sign up for that giveaway. You exchange your email for being in the drawing, but you know, then you get lovely emails from us with lots of inspiration and keeping the party going. Thank you guys so much. You have a great rest of your day. I'm looking forward to watching with the videos with you guys. So we'll see you guys for Green Girl Studios coming up next. Bye.